Hello, everyone. Very good afternoon. Welcome to the Future Series by VST ECS Tech Summit in Philippines. Thank you, everyone, for having me here as well. I would like to thank the team at the VST ECS for giving Automation Anywhere an opportunity to talk at this event. I hope everyone is keeping very well. My name is Sundar. I lead the channels for Automation Anywhere. We are the industry leader in providing robotic processes automation platform, right? So let me just pause here. Then I just want to check with you guys if you're able to see my screen. Yes, okay, fantastic. Great, so let's dive right into the presentation today.
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yep.
fantastic. Thank you, Maurice. Great, so today's topic brings us to a very important, become a very important topic for today's world. It's about having a resilient workforce for a world like this today, all right? So think of it as a backup to your human workforce, right? So traditionally, when we talk about disaster recovery, we talk about the backups. We usually talk about data center backups, cloud backups, tape backups, and so on and so forth, right? So now this pandemic, right, has actually fueled a very niche market or a very niche requirement before the pre-pandemic is where we need to have a resilient workforce that's able to cope with a situation like this today. So when we spoke about the topic that we want to talk about is we want to really talk about how we can all come together. In fact, how the world is moving towards a digital workforce, in addition to complement your human workforce. So I thought it's a very good relevant topic for today. And I hope you can if you're new to RPA, if you're new to hyper automation, intelligent automation, this could give you guys a little bit of introduction, right? So in the meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to chat it in the chat window. I'm more than happy to answer them. And then we will also have a little bit of demos and stuff like that to show you guys how it's actually being done in the real world, right? Okay, let's get started then. So this particular slide, right? So as you can see, some of the names, in fact, almost all the names on this particular slide, all these are ones dominated the industry, dominated the respective market segments. But as you can see now, since the dawn of the new millennium, most of these companies have either been acquired or even been written off, right? So what is the reason, right? So there's a huge study that was done based on the life cycle of not just normal mid-sized enterprises, but also very huge enterprises. So one of the key factors that came in as a result on why these big companies are failing is that they lack the pace of innovation. They lacked on the technology, they lacked on the people, they lacked on the whole culture, right? So how we are moving towards a new world, like how we're going to service the new world that is very tech savvy, that needs things done as soon as possible. Like everything is urgent in this world right now. The customer experience trumps everything else. The technology, be the the price, the cost, it beats everything, right? End of the day, your customer is so important. So how do you cope with so much of demands of today's world? On the other side of the spectrum, let's talk about the companies. They're not just like surviving, but they're actually thriving in today's world, right? So for example, take Netflix, right? So people written off Netflix 10 years back, 10, 15 years back, right? So the whole DVD market was laughing at them. And then today you will know that, they were even like, they're competing against traditional broadcasting companies and TV networks, right? So they've grown up to that level. So, companies like Uber, right? Amazon, basically these are the disruptors, right? So you might have heard this term called disruptors, and how these disruptors in a good way are disrupting the industry, right? And then they're actually thriving. The key underlying aspect of all these people is one thing. It's about networking. It's about giving the right customer experience and being digital ready, right? So this is what you're looking for. You need to be digital ready to be able to easily navigate all these this hard, dynamic, fluid market situations that we are seeing today. Okay, so this is how the digital natives are disrupting today's world. All right, so I think this particular slide, I think, is a classic, right? So most of you would agree with me. So traditionally, I've been in the industry for more than 15 years. When I started off with Sun Microsystems, huge servers, mainframe servers, like 4Us, 2Us, if you know what I'm talking about. So we used to acquire them, place an order, wait for 3 months, get that delivered, go to a data center, rack them up, have a power supply, UPS, have a space, the air conditioning, and the storage and backups, and it's a never-ending nightmare, right? I think it's gone, right? It's not still 100% gone. It still dominates a huge percentage of today's world, where people are still having their own data centers, having their own team to manage the infrastructure, right? So that's still around. But as you think of it, right now, the cloud has come a long way in the last decade, right? Started with AWS, you have Google Cloud, you have Azure, you have Ali Cloud, and so on, right? So there are lots of cloud opportunities that are arriving. And what does it bring? What does it bring to enterprises? What does it bring to the CTOs, CIOs, CTOs, right? For a company, what does it do? So one, right, the most important stuff, the continuity of your business, right? I believe everyone here, right, everyone in this particular summit are having this a BCP, or a business continuity program, in your organization. So how do you continue your business? Like, how do you, your mission critical processes, how are you going to move with that when something like a huge disruptor is going to happen? It could be a natural disaster, it could be like a pandemic, it could be geopolitical issues, and so on and so forth. How are you going to cope? So one is, you need to continue your businesses, right? And having the obligation to run a data center with a team physically, that's going to just increase the whole the risk factors that you're going to envision, right? So think about it today. So people, lockdowns, full lockdowns, people are not able to move. People need to go to a data center to go and probably a server is down, you need to reset a server. It's impossible, right? So people are doing remote work, and we need our systems to run 24/7 without any interruption. So cloud provides you that kind of an opportunity. And and also, usually the cloud solutions are, the cloud data centers are usually distributed. That means it's not in a single data center. So it's distributed around the world, around the globe. So even like a data center goes down in, say, Australia, you have a data center that serves you in Singapore, right? And vice versa. So that is again provided by the cloud. And then I get talked about the backups, the remote work, how it's going to be the new normal, right? And then like how fast you want to start, right? So again, the speed comes to, speed is very, very important. I just showed you guys in the previous slide, right? How these big companies, high-tech companies, are disrupting every part of the business that we do today, from basic finance to, to transportation, to banking, everything, right? They're everywhere, all over the place. So how nimble can we become to become competitive, to be able to withstand that kind of an external pressure? So rapid digital transformation is what you're looking for, right? So what does it mean by rapid digital transformation? So you got a great team, right? So you have an amazing team, you have an amazing plan. You did a study, and then you want to do a GTM, and then you want to go live, right? So who will win? The person who gets there at first, right? First person to get to the market wins the biggest share, right? So you need to be nimble, you need to be fast, and cloud is an ideal platform to do that, right? So just as I mentioned, my personal experience, I don't need to wait for 6 months. I don't need to wait for a year to get the whole infrastructure set up and then get the project started. I want to start today. I decided, I go and do it. I purchase everything, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. Everything's available for you today. So within few clicks, you'll be able to get your services and systems up and running in no time. So it enables a rapid digital transformation. So you are focusing on your business. You're not focusing on the support systems, infrastructure. So you're focusing purely on your business processes. Okay, so we talked about the challenges. We talked about the challenges that the pandemic is bringing. We talked about what a company, a digital enterprise, should be striving to do, right? And then why is it so hard? Okay, let's come to that topic now. So this is the problem statement, and then to solve that problem, what does it take? What does it take, from us to be able to overcome those challenges? Okay, so this particular slide is a classic. Again, another classic. Okay, imagine this in your organization. You have your front office, right? Your customer care, your contact centers, your shared services. They have both external stakeholders as well as internal stakeholders. And you have a back office operation. So where you're doing your finance, your APs, your ARs, your warranties and stuff like that, right? So it's lots of back office operations, IT, HR, finance operations. And what is common in any industry or any organization? Just think about yourself. Every day you walk in or every day you check into your work, how many applications do you need to navigate to get a simple task accomplished, right? So you probably be using your email client, then probably using an office tool like PowerPoint, Excel, Word, probably using an ERP like an SAP, Salesforce, Oracle, NetSuite, and so on and so forth. So you're using multiple systems to just get one particular task done, right? And that's the problem, right? So what happens is these big applications, they don't talk really well among each other, okay? So that's why you need the humans to manually move the data from one particular application to another particular application, right? And all the time, as you keep doing this is a voluminous in nature, right? As you keep doing this, one, the humans are going to be like not going to be really motivated to continue to do it. And number two, of course, they're going to be human prone errors. And not just that, but it's a huge roadblock to achieving that real efficiency that your organization deserves. All right. So that's where the RPA is actually coming along to become a transparent bridge, right? Consider this as like a little bridge across your front office applications, your back office applications, and also your productivity and your collaborative tools, right? So it's going to bring all these applications together and then make it seamless, right? The data transfer, data validation, data entry, data verification, and so on, even analytics, right? So everything is becoming seamless with the introduction of what we call the robotic processes automation. I have a couple of demos. It's going to show you exactly in real world how this tool is helping thousands of our customers day in and day out to perform their mission critical processes. Right, so moving on. So we know what's the problem. So we talked about the problem. We talked about today's situation. We talked about what it takes to become nimble, what it takes to become successful, and then what are the challenges in getting there. Right, so let's get another question, that huge white elephant out of the window, out of the room. Right, so the first question I always get asked, right, every time I go and talk to a customer, I evangelize RPA, intelligent automation. The first question, the most important question is they ask me, Sundar, are you here to take away my job? Are you here to replace me with a robot? This is where I'm going at. And my answer is, honestly, it's no, right? The reason I say no is it's definitely, it's not going to take your job. It's going to take the mundane job that you're doing. It's going to take the repetitive job you're going to do. It's going to take the job that you need to do 24/7, right? As humans, it's impossible to be able to do 24/7. So here's my take, right? My personal experience. A robot can never replace a human, not in this generation, I believe, probably in 150, 200 years, but not in this time, right? So a bot now, so this is where we actually have separated what we are doing, what we do the best, and what the bots can do the best. So this is the framework that you need to understand, okay? So as humans, as us, as human workforce, we are the best in problem solving. We are the best in networking, right? So we are the best in thinking, making critical, decisions, right? So we are very good at it. We are good in collaboration. We are good in coming up with new ideas and how to improve the business and so on and so forth. So let's be at it. Let's be really good at it. Let's spend 80-90% of the time in the value adding work, right? than just doing data copying, data moving, data validations, running reports, and so on and so forth, which I think are ideal for the robots to take over, right? So if there is a process that you think that needs to run 24/7, it's really mundane, there's no value add, there's not much to think about, then you just let the bot delegate these jobs to the bot so the bot can do these processes. In our experience, like people who have actually moved to RPA, so they've actually moved some of the critical parts, some of their 24/7 operations, support, migration, testing, all that to the bots. So these can run 24/7, so the humans can focus on the business more. All right. So this is, how I would say, this is the reality and this is the truth in most of our customer experiences as well. Right. So you need to decide as a thought leader, right, as a business owner. So you need to decide on what tasks, if one, even before you embark on a digital workforce, you need to think about what are the processes or what are the tasks that I can automate. So where I'm going to take that extra time with my employees and where I'm going to invest that time, right, for the employees. Are they going to be like, redeployed somewhere, reskilled, or maybe they can spend more time in adding the value to the business and so on and so forth. So a lot of thinking needs to be done prior to you engaging on a digital workforce or having a virtual workforce besides the human workforce in your organization. So yeah, so just give an example, right? So just give an example of what I'm talking about here, right? Where's the bot? Where's the human? The reason I said the bots are not going to replace humans entirely. So I'm going to give you an example in this particular workflow. So this is a very, very common workflow. I believe like most of us are having this. So basically it's a order to cash process. So a customer orders a customer could be a consumer, it could be a corporate, it could be a B2B, B2C, it could be any form, right? So your customer places an order for your services or your product, right? So what happens then? So this is the behind the scenes. Okay, so this is the behind the scenes visibility, right? So this is what happens. So what we have on the vertical, what we call the swim lanes, are basically the different departments, right? So the different departments using multiple different applications, and having humans sit in various part of that process. So this is a real use case, right? So this is actually done with a real life customer of us. What is their existing process? So as you can see, from the time that the customer places an order, and then by the time the customer receives the product and then releases the payment, right? So there's lots of things. So you need to move from department to department. So from the purchase team to credit check team to shipment team, inventory, supply chain, payment, cash, finance. So it's a complex process. It is not that easy, right? So you got multiple departments and like tons of applications for one single transaction. So our client was actually, able to do this in about a month, right? It's about 30 days for what customer believes is a simple transaction, but behind the scenes in the back office, it's that much more complex. So what we have done, we brought automation anywhere, right? So we brought that platform, right? Wherever you're seeing that orange pop up, coming up. So those are the places it's helping the humans at that particular part, right? So you're seeing the humans are not replaced yet, definitely reduced, but you can see it's actually helping the humans to automate some of the like mundane, like sending an email, filling up an Excel sheet, filling up an ERP system, and so on. So it's helping them to basically become make the whole process faster. So with introduction of RPA platform, now the same customer can accomplish the task within 5 days, right? So this is the end goal that you should be looking at, right? So it's not about just adding 10%, 15%, right, to your process. So here you can see a whopping 600% improvement in the gains. So we are talking about multi-folds of improvement in your performance, in your efficiency, right? And there are so many intangible benefits to this. Your customer is going to be happy, right? Your cash flow is going to be better. So then the NPS is going to go high. Your humans are now only working on escalations, exception handling, building new businesses, bringing more customers on board, selling more stuff, right? So there are lots of intangible benefits that ultimately is going to benefit the organization, right? So this is what we're talking about when we're talking about bringing a digital workforce, building a digital workforce in your organization. Right, so what are the impacts? So we just to summarize, right? So everything we talked about, what are the impacts of having a digital workforce in your organization? And number one, very, very common, simple. As I just mentioned previously, you spend 30 days and now you're spending 5 days. It's going to straight away going to give you the optimized labor costs, right? So you're going to increase your capacity. So as a human, I can do like 84% more, 100% more of my tasks or transactions. So that's going to optimize your labor costs. And now the bots, right? So again, as I said, the bots can work without a break. It can work 24/7, 365 days on the cloud. So you don't have to worry about a break, tiredness, whatever, right? So if if your business needs something like that, then bringing a digital workforce is super beneficial. Okay, compliances, right? So your data privacy, like GDPR, FedRAMP, we have PDPA. So how do you comply? How do you make the your process could be like a banking process, right? So it needs to be like subjected to certain regulatory compliances, controls, and audits. So you can use the robots to easily to program this so that the bots will follow these compliances and controls all the time. Okay, and analytics. So as I said, like now the digital workforce platforms are available with a built-in analytics tool where you can actually view what the bots are doing, how they're helping your business, how they're bringing the return of investment. And not just that, but also you'll be able to gain strategic insights into your business as well, right? So these bots are like, for example, they're doing your invoice processing, right? So they are doing inventory management. So the bots know what kind of through the invoice processing, the bot's going to know what kind of products you sold, what is the total amount, from which vendor, right, which supplier, so the dates and the payment terms, everything, all the data is available. So the bot's going to produce these amazing dashboards and give you the business intelligence as well. And finally, just a couple of things, but the most important of them all, the one is the rapidity, the one that we talked about earlier, right? So why cloud? Again, one of the reasons is being able to swiftly move into the transformation, right? It's going to fuel your digital transformation, right? It's going to play as a catalyst. So again, RPA is another disruptor, as I said. So instead of going with the traditional API integration, hard coding, scripting, where it needs it's very like bounded integration. Now you're bringing in a disruptor that does not need an API, that does not need any programming, right? And how fast you can automate these processes compared to the traditional way of process automation as well. And finally, the employee morale, right? So this is a thing that it's actually exciting for those that have actually onboarded the digital workforce. Okay, beyond anything, it's the employees that they feel tired doing the mundane and boring work. And with the automation tool, with a digital workforce helping you out, it's going to improve every employee's morale, because now they feel they are worthy. Now they feel that they're actually doing a business, more of a business work than of a robotic work. Okay, now one of the new concepts of building a digital workforce, right? So most of you are aware of Siri, right? So some of you are using Siri, some of you are using Alexa, right? So we all use Siri and Alexa. We use mobile phones. We make whole things much easier. So we order food, through an app. We call for a cab through an app. We can even talk to your phone and then get stuff done, send reminders, set timers, and so on. So you do lots of stuff, right? But that's personal. Okay, just think about it at work. What kind of tool is available to you? What kind of tools are available for you to have that kind of opportunity, or the kind of convenience, right, to be able to accomplish your tasks at work? Wouldn't that be fantastic if you had something like that, right? Wouldn't it be magical? Take away all the hardship, and then so that you can get to the job as soon as possible, right? So this is a color. So this is where we're looking at, right? So now the tool is matured enough to be able to, do such a thing. Think of it as your a digital assistant at your work, okay? Just like Siri or Alexa. So what you're seeing here is basically a typical civil chair approach, right? So this is what we do. So let's say there's an incoming request, right? Could be an email, could be an IVR, could be a phone call from your boss, from your internal stakeholders, from your external stakeholders. And then you, as a part of processing that order, you probably need to navigate into multiple systems, and then you need, these are basically the system of records, right? Those systems holding records. So you'll probably go into multiple systems. In the example, if a customer is changing their address, the agent then needs to go and update manually multiple applications where the records are available, right? So consider this, and then have a workforce assistant where you can just talk to it and just say, hey, robot, okay, this customer, this is the number, get it done, right? Let the bot go and change all this for you for enterprise applications. Okay, so the technology's evolved in the last 2 years that much that you can even, have a feature where you'll be able to accomplish tasks by just dictating to the robots. Okay, so the whole experience of having a digital workforce is also being enhanced at the same time at a very rapid pace. Okay, I'm going to show you a demo next, right? So I've been talking a lot. So let's show you a demo. So how does it work in a real life example? So I've taken this particular process. Later I'll show you where you can actually employ a digital workforce. But I'm just taking some of one of the most common processes that is most taxing, most time consuming, but most critical for every organization, which goes by the name invoice processing, right? So it could be your AP, your accounts payable team, and your accounts receivable team. They become like super important, right? Your collections team as well as your finance team becomes super important for your financial to maintain your financial records, right? So they are becoming the stakeholders for the whole of the cash flow and everything. Okay, so this is a typical process when we come across invoice, right? So I believe you will agree with me, right? So you got incoming, say, records. It could be a PO, it could be the invoices, right? And then it comes in a PDF format. You might have like multiple suppliers, multiple vendors. So you might have to work with like 100 different vendors, and each vendor, they have their own format of invoices. Then you will have a team to download that invoice, to go into your ERP, enter the information, verify whether this particular goods has been delivered through your GRNs, your delivery notes, and then the original order, and then make sure that the money, everything. I think an AP professional will understand this, right? So then, like, finally, you can release the payment to the supplier, right? Let's take this example. I'll show you a demo in the next slide to actually see the RPA in action. Sorry. Fantastic. So I hope you're able to see what just happened, right? So basically what I've seen, all of that is automatically performed by the robot, right? So there's no human involvement. So the bots can help the humans perform certain particular tasks with or without the human or human interaction, right? So, all the way from email classification, from extracting the information from the invoices to entering it into your ERP system, right? So it's all done by the robots. Okay, and as you can see, the actual platform, there's no coding, it's basically drag and drop. So you have the technology today to be able to automate with your business users, right? So it doesn't need any specific or special users. So once you start to build, once you think you need a digital workforce, once you need to have build a resiliency for your workforce, you would then enable or empower your existing employees to be able to automate their own processes, okay, without having a special need for a special team. Okay, so what kind of industries we are looking at, what kind of processes that we are looking at, right? And to me, the answer is, there is no limitation. Okay, so there are only two limitations. Number one is your process needs to be a digital process, and number two, it doesn't involve like manual interaction, like like people going to visit people going to like do a mailing, a postage, that kind of a process, right? So anything that's done in a digital way, then you can automate, right? There's no specific sector. So people in financial institutions, people in manufacturing, people in fast moving goods, in transportation, logistics, supply chain, healthcare, life sciences, it doesn't matter, right? So as far as you have a process, you have a task that needs to be done repetitively, and it's just it takes too much time, has a lot of error, and you want to improve, you want to scale, then you can look for a digital workforce to help you there. Okay, so here I'm just giving you some examples all the way from for each of these, the top three or top two processes that these institutes or these industries have automated with the digital workforce. Okay, so let's talk about the AI, right? So again, AI is a huge topic. Artificial intelligence is the buzzword, right? So currently it's all the buzzwords. So everyone wants to do some sort of an AI project, a machine learning project. Gone are the days where it started as a pure image processing tool. But with the introduction of high-tech companies like Azure AI services, AWS's AI services, Google's AI services, now we have actually reached a point where we can leverage on such rich AI models, and then you can make use of that, right? So I want to show you one example of very particular. This is an actual example of a insurance provider and how they use AI and digital workforce to do the screening, right? For any insurance claim, how they do the screening, how do they check for fraud, and then advise the team that is in charge of processing the insurance, right? So previously, that used to take about, say, 2 weeks for them to go through the evidences, go through the insurance claims, verify the system of records, give an approval, and so on and so forth. So we're going to see how we can leverage on AI to be able to perform these tasks, right? Right, so I think that demo is quite self-explanatory, right? So how we are using the AI to actually do, like, like if a customer, in this case, is has a car damage, sends an evidence, like takes a photo, then we can use these advanced models to say, okay, typically this kind of a damage, what is the estimate cost to repair, right? So it helps, instead of doing a manual, coming with a manual estimation, now we are using our artificial intelligence based on the past records, right? Historical records, cost of living, cost of the particular place, cost of that, that repair. It's going to estimate the value, and then it's going to check whether this particular customer, right? So they even, you saw the forms are basically handwritten, so the robots can actually make sense of the handwritten text using the OCR, right? Intelligent document processing tools. It can extract the data, it can verify with your record, make sure that this is within the limit of claims. And also, it can also do a fraud detection, right? So it could be, again, in finance, it could be used for a KYC processes to check whether this photograph belongs to a particular user, or, is a comparison between the photograph that you have in a record plus the photograph that's been provided by the user. So you can extrapolate that. You can use AI in multiple, wherever you need human decisions, right? Wherever you need to take human decisions, or wherever you need the machines to help humans make a decision. So these are the two places that you're looking to employ artificial intelligence, right? So just a very quick example of what could be a very manual, time consuming process, and now getting automated using the AI. Okay, so just give you an idea. Right, so now, so this particular slide, so I want to talk about is the digital workers are evolving, right? So from basic tasks, simple tasks, to subtasks, sub-processes, to the entire process, to even performing a role, right? So when you're building your resilient workforce, you're looking at building a, just like, you would do with a full-time employee, with a human worker, right? So you're going to have a role created. In this example, it could be a recruiting coordinator, right, from your HR team. So this particular digital worker is going to help you. So what you'll do, this is again what, some of customers have done. So you are looking for a specific role. So you will let the bot know, and what is the kind of experience you're looking at, what kind of industry. Then the recruitment coordinator digital worker is going to go into your LinkedIn, JobStreet, web applications, look for these candidates, and it's going to shortlist based on your score. It's going to send an email, right? So it's going to send an email asking whether they are interested in particular job, right? So you can use a digital workflow for that particular instance. Could be a claim analyst, right? So your employees are submitting claims, then you can actually ask the employees to send the claims to this digital worker, which will then check, it will extract the data from the receipts, it will check against their quota, right? So it could be a food, means what is their allowances, if it's a phone bill, internet bill, what's the allowance, it can check all that, and then it can either approve or reject or give its insight to you as an approver, right? So you are looking to develop digital workers, right? So so that, like, even when you're having to face a not a natural situation, right? Just like today's pandemic, how am I going to use these different digital workers to supplement or help cope with the challenge, right? Help my existing team, help my existing HR, help my existing IT operations, my finance team. How they're going to make use of these digital workers to become more resilient going forward, right? So it's all part of thought leadership, right? So when you're thinking about building building a resilient workforce, this is how you need to, like, usually this is how you'll go about building these digital workers. Right, so I think we've come to the end of my presentation today. Just as a parting note, I want to tell you, just to give you guys a hint of who we are. We are Automation Anywhere. We are, again, the industry leaders in providing digital workforce. We've been around for more than 17 years now. And the one key statistic I want you to take home is that 2.6 million. Right, so this is exactly what I want you to look for, focus at. So this is the number of bots as we speak. This is a number of bots that are actually deployed in production, and they are automating as we speak. Some of the world's top banks, some of the world's top financial institutions, transportation, hospitality groups. So they're using these bots to make sure that their workforce is resilient, and they are able to thrive in situations like today. Right, with that, I would like to again extend my sincere thanks to each and every one of you for spending your time to learn a little bit about automation, building a digital workforce, a resilient workforce, for this dynamic world. Again, thank you so much to VST ECS for giving us an opportunity to be part of your great event.